What's good, everyone? Welcome to another LiveWire Sports. All right, we got some interesting news coming out of Indiana dealing with Caitlin Clark and Christie Size. Some very, very important information that I need to drop for y'all this morning. Let's get it.
Hey, so amazing. You see how they playing? LiveWire, it's all about sports and entertainment. You don't want to miss it, so official like you never seen. Keep it going till the whistle blowing from the referee. Everything from highlights and stats. You know that we gotta run it back, whether on the field or the court. You know that this is where it's at. Subscribe, no delaying. This is LiveWire, sports and entertainment. Let's go.
All right, so Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever held on to win last night against the Phoenix Mercury. But there was some points of the game that became very, very interesting that I started noticing being on social media last night. I've been up late, just going over some stuff and checking out other people's conversations and stuff like that. And I came to point out that, as I always call Christie Size, public enemy number one. Yes, that person right there. Christie Size. It seems like her and her superstar, Caitlin Clark, are not on the same page. And things are beginning to rear its ugly head between these two. And it's going to come down to one that needs to go. And we already know who that person is. Last night in the game, you've seen a couple of times where Caitlin brought the ball up. She was on fire. She got everybody in rhythm. She's passing, people cutting, easy layups. She took her shots when she needed to take her shots. Just like the Mystics game when they played. Christie Size do not like when Caitlin Clark start calling her own number and start getting her own shots, especially when the game is flowing really good. Because as you notice in the Mystic game in the second half, Caitlin took over because she had to get the team back into a groove. But then again, we had Christie Size, who blatantly always trying to get the ball out of Caitlin Clark's hand. So last night during the game, right, there was one play in particular, and I'm about to show you, that Caitlin was bringing the ball up. She wanted a screen, and then the ball went, I believe the ball went to Lexi Hall. Lexi Hall got it to Dantes, cut, but she wanted Kelsey Mitchell to give her a screen. But apparently, I guess Dantes was signaling to Christie Size that she wanted to get the ball to Mitchell, but Mitchell wasn't there. So Lexi Hall cut. Dantes passed the ball to her, led to a turnover. You're seeing Caitlin Clark threw her hands up, was pissed because you should have got the ball back to Caitlin at the top, and then she could have reset. But they didn't do that. And then after that play, they went to the sideline. You seen Christie Size grabbing Caitlin Clark by the hand, but she wasn't having it. Caitlin was like pulling away from her and didn't want to talk to her. Now, this is not the only incident because there was somebody also that was at the game that's a YouTuber, JBL TV. He was at the game for the first time, and he brought up some stinger comments. But I'm going to show you this play real quick.
Take them to that next level. We were shooting 65% from the field here in this first quarter. Here's Dantes, who's checked in. Looking for Lexi Hall, pass a little behind her, and the Fever have now turned it over on back-to-back possessions. Not up in time. An offensive excellence for the Fever in the first quarter.
Now, as you watch that, Kelsey Mitchell was supposed to cut down instead of Lexi Hall. But Mitchell didn't ever cut in because she would have had an easy basket, but she never cut. So when Caitlin came and she was wanting Kelsey to come to her, Kelsey never came. So Katie Lou was on at the top, which Caitlin could have passed to her and probably curled back around and got the ball and then dip it to Dantas. Then they could have made an easy play. But once the play was over and there was a turnover and they went back down the court, you see where Caitlin was walking to the sideline and Christie Sides grabbed her arm. And Caitlin was talking to her, and you could tell she was not feeling what Christie Sides had to say. Now, I'm gonna show you another play that literally showed the I think it's this play right here where Caitlin was upset and she hit the chair. Hopefully this is the play right here.
Everything to smile about through 3 quarters. A little frustration there on the sideline.
All right, that play right there. That's when the Mercury started getting back into the game. And at that point in time, when the Mercury was going on this big run, Seta called a timeout. They was playing zone because they put Celeste Taylor in the game. Yes, the Celeste Taylor that was with the with the Fever, and she got waived. And then the Mercury picked her up just in time before they played Indiana. Celeste Taylor had the assignment of being on Caitlin Clark. Now, Celeste Taylor for not having to practice and whatever, she played a pretty decent game. But she had the tough task of guarding Caitlin, which Caitlin took advantage of it and exploited it. But what it was, it allowed Kalia Copper to have her legs. She didn't have to chase Caitlin. You know what I'm saying? So that's why Kalia Copper was able to explode for 20 of her 31 points in the third quarter to get them back close. Because at the end of the third quarter, I believe the lead was, the Fever only outscored them by 2 or 3 points at that time. But the thing about it is that Christie Sides continuously to show her inept ability to manage a game. When you have a lead of 31 going into the third quarter and you allow 31, almost 21 of the 30 points to whittle down to be in the fourth quarter down by 6, up by 6, that shows your inept ability to be a coach. You know what I'm saying? Then you get in a press conference and you talk about, we have to figure out why we blew the lead. Now listen to what she had to say.
League, the goal is just to get better, and to when you do things like what we just talked about with letting them score 36 points, like we've got to figure out how to not let that happen. We haven't been in this position where we were up 31, but you can't let that kind of lead go. Especially, they cut it to 6. That's just unacceptable. So we have to figure out how that happened and not let that happen again.
Well, Chrissy, you know how it happened? Because you're a coach that you only just assistant coach. You're not a head coach. You don't have the ability to be a head coach because you do not know how to make adjustments. You do not know how to put your team in position to slow the game down and say, hey, let's keep the ball in Caitlin's hand. Let her run the show. What you do, you take the ball out of Caitlin's hand, you put Wheeler in at that time, and the offense got stagnant. There was no movement, no transition movement. Everybody was just standing around, and then Wheeler got stuck, led to a turnover. Get the ball in Wheeler's hand again, same thing. And then you allow the Phoenix Mercury to claw back into the game, and you sit here and say, well, we have to figure out why we gave up that much points in the quarter. Well, guess what? If you look at your ability to coach, then you'll know why. Because the fact of the matter is that you allow this. You continuously seems like you trying to sabotage or blow leads for this team. And then the thing about it is, as great a night Caitlin had, if the Fever had lost that game, then you would have probably put the finger towards Caitlin, as you always do, because you always throw your team on the bus. And speaking of throw your team on the bus, you throw Nelissa Smith on the bus because on her day off, she went to spend time with her girlfriend, Desiree Carrington, and because you wanted them to be at a pickleball event that Erica Wheeler had. So since Nelissa didn't come, you decide to punish her in the Washington game. See, all of this stuff starting to come out and showing what kind of coach that you are. You'll favor Erica Wheeler all day long, but then you'll punish people like Nelissa Smith. And sometimes, I ain't gonna lie, Nelissa does need it at times, but at the same time, and then you want to show CC up, like, hey, I'm the coach. I know what I'm talking about. But then again, Caitlin Clark's IQ is so high and so intelligent that if any one of y'all that's on X or whatever, go to my page, LiveWire Sports 1, and there's a clip of Caitlin in the practice where she was at Iowa, and she was mic'd up and she was directing, putting people in position and everything like that. And that just goes to show how her IQ is like Jordan and Kobe's IQ, where she understands the game of basketball. When your point guard is understanding the game of basketball, and then she's trying to make everybody better, and then she's trying to get her own shot, because when she has a favorable matchup, she's going to take it, especially if nobody else is scoring. So she feels like, hey, let me get going so I could get everybody else going. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes she plays passive because you don't want to get everybody involved, but if nobody's scoring, then what you expect for her to do? See, the thing about it is, Christie's size in this Caitlin Clark situation now is starting to rear its ugly head more and more and more. And a lot of people, especially us on YouTube content, we picking up on it and we talking about it. And I know Christie Sides already, she's been hearing it. Me personally, I said this. I don't think I wanted her to get fired during the All-Star and Olympic break and bring somebody in that could bring some energy to this team during the second half of the season. Because going down the stretch with 16 games left, you don't know what Christie Sides is going to do. She's going to continue to sabotage this team for her own sake, because she wants to show that she's the coach, they're the players, they can't do this without me. But the players are winning games despite of you. They staying into games despite of you. And CC's starting to figure out, well, like, hey, well, we trying to win games, and she's every time CC makes a good play, she don't pull CC to the side, say, hey, keep going, don't get frustrated, let's keep going on. Every time she makes a good pass, she's like, good pass, good pass. She doesn't know how to talk to her players or reach her players, you know what I'm saying, unless she's cool with them. Now, my last clip is the guy that I was telling you about. He went to the game and he said something very profound. Take a listen.
Somewhere in the fourth quarter, I don't know. It's like the coach told her stop shooting. And I started to see her have arguments with her coach. She was arguing with her coach. I think her coach is gone. She's out of here. She's out of here. She has to be out of here, but she sucks. That coach is not the right coach, is not the right fit for Caitlin Clark. You could see she was so frustrated. She yelled at her coach like 3 or 4 times. And everybody was like, look at her arguing with her coach. But, man.
Now, that is very telling right there. Very, very telling. Very telling. Because the fact of the matter is that now this has become a problem. And they have the Minnesota Lynx, a team that's kind of a little shorthanded with their top player and the feature caller. A game that I expect Indiana to win this game tomorrow. I think they could win this game because with they don't have nobody on Minnesota that could guard Caitlin. Point blank, period. There's nobody on Minnesota could guard Caitlin. And I feel like these are the games that you should win. You're capable of winning. But Christie Sides and Caitlin Clark, and like I've been saying before, Lin Dunn is not going to get fired over Christie Sides. I don't care how buddy she may be. Now, if she end up keeping Christie Sides and signing her to a longer contract, this team is not going to go nowhere. I don't care what they do this postseason and going into next season. They're not going to go any further because you have a coach that just can't coach. She can't coach, period. I don't care what kind of talent you bring in free agency. She don't know how to coach the talent. And if she don't know how to coach the talent and you bringing all this talent in and this team still can't get past, they can't get 20 wins or 22, 25 wins, then it's going to cost your GM a job and it's going to cost your head coach a job. So my advice to Lin Dunn, if you don't want your job to be lost, you better make a decision on getting rid of Christie Sides after the season or halfway through the season. I don't think they're going to fire her. They're going to probably ride it out to the end, but they're going to have to make a decision. And I think now that Caitlin is starting to be more vocal, you're starting to see that a lot. She's starting to show her frustration with this coach. She has more power than a lot of people think because she is the superstar. And you best believe the owner of the Indiana Fever is not going to allow their superstar to walk away or not be engaged with the team. They're going to have to make a change with Christie Sides in this offseason. They're going to have to because I don't see Caitlin and Christie Sides being together for the long term. It's not going to work because either Caitlin going to serve out her contract and go to another team, and they can't afford for her to leave to go to another team. So 9 times out of 10, we've seen it in the NBA. They value the star more than the coach. And if the coach and the star player is not on the same page, guess what's going to happen? That coach is out of here. And now you're going to see it more and more and more. Guess what? This ain't the first time, and the damn show ain't going to be the last time. Christie Sides and Caitlin Clark going to butt heads all the rest of the way through the season. I don't care if they win games, they lose games. They're going to be butting heads. Even when they win the games, you're going to see them butt heads because Christie Sides wants Caitlin to be a passer, just pass the damn ball all the time. And if your scorers ain't making shots, what the hell you expect for her to do? She's putting them in position. They got to finish. And then you have Kelsey Mitchell being erratic on the court. Me personally, I would rather have somebody like a Trinity Carter or Khalil Copper that plays second to Caitlin Clark. You know why? Because they will get buckets. They don't take bad shots. They take efficient shots, and they hit their shots. They don't just sit there and jack up shots. They play within the system. They will pass the ball. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of person that Caitlin Clark needs next to her. She don't need a Kelsey Mitchell. I don't care what people might say. Well, Kelsey Mitchell is a good player and all of a sudden. I think she's a nice person. Don't get me twisted. I don't dislike her, but she doesn't fit Caitlin. Yeah, they had some success, but it's not every damn game success. You need every game success. Why you think it made Kobe and Shaq so dominant? Why you think it made Tony Parker and Tim Duncan so successful? Why you think Scotty and Mike was so successful? Why you think Joe Dumars and Isaiah Thomas was so successful? Karl Malone, John Stockton. It's consistency. And you have a coach that don't know how to be consistent. Period. It's just you got the best point guard in the league. Matter of fact, you got the best player in the league. Numbers don't lie. She breaking all kind of records, and you still don't know how to coach her. You damn sure don't know how to coach Aaliyah Boston either. Because if Aaliyah Boston had a really good coach, guess what? Aaliyah Boston would have been a little bit more efficient. Her game suffered because you don't have a person that knows what the hell they're doing. And I don't even know what the hell the assistant coach is doing either, because they look like they don't even know nothing. Tex Winters for the Chicago Bulls was the orchestrator behind the triangle offense. And all that Phil Jackson had to do is just stand there and look good. Because Tex Winters, that's what Christie Side needs. She needs somebody that knows damn X's and O's. Because she damn sure don't. So I'm telling you, keep an eye on this situation with Caitlin Clark and Christie Sides going forward. You think last night was something? And if they was arguing a lot on the sideline, going back and forth, trust me, one or two things going to happen. Christie Sides going to go, because going into the next season, nah, I don't see that shit going any further. I bet money that Christie Sides get fired at the end of the year. She has to. And if they sign her, then this organization is as dumb as I thought they were. Matter of fact, they'll be like the Chicago Bulls, because Billy Donovan should have been fired. But look what they are. But I'm saying the owner of the Indiana Pacers and the Fever, he made changes to the Pacers. Me personally, I suspect him to make changes or talk to Lin Dunn to make some changes. Lin Dunn's job is in jeopardy right now, along with Christie Sides. Don't think either one of them are safe. Neither one of them are safe. Her job is in jeopardy, and she's going to have to pull the cork to drain the water out of that tub, because Christie Sides is effing up big time, and a lot of people seen it. Fans was calling for her to be fired, and she's continuously trying to handcuff Caitlin Clark, when you obviously see Caitlin Clark knows how to run the show. You see her put pressure on defense. You see her put her teammates in position. And then you can tell how frustrated it is when you see Aaliyah Boston gets frustrated. You know what I'm saying? You seen people over there being frustrated. Katie Lou even be frustrated. Hell, Lexi Hole be frustrated. It's all because of the coach. Katie Lou and all of them, they know what kind of player they got in Caitlin Clark. But they know when Caitlin Clark on the floor, she's going to make them better. You know why? Because she's a generational talent. But her coach don't want her to be great, because any success she gets, she downplays her success, minimizes her. She don't want to talk her up. Hell, you get all these other coaches in the league that talk up for their players. She showed favoritism when it comes to Erica Wheeler, Christie Wallace. When Aaliyah Boston had that great game, she even was wearing a Aaliyah Boston shirt, but she would not show any support for Caitlin Clark. Even when Caitlin Clark was the first rookie ever in WNBA history to record a triple-double, she effed that up by talking about the first player ever in franchise history. She can't even do that right. I'm just telling you, man, Christie Sides is an abomination to this franchise, and she has to go by all means necessary. In the words of Optimus Prime to Megatron, one shall stand and one shall fall. So, and with Megatron, and I just view Caitlin Clark as Optimus Prime and Christie Sides as Megatron. And so one shall stand and one shall fall. Like Megatron say, why throw your life away so recklessly? And Prime say, that's a question you should ask yourself. So, with that being said, let me know in the comments what you think about Christie Sides and her antics and Caitlin Clark's situation. Like I said before, This ain't going away. This going all the way down to the wire, to the end of the season, to postseason. Because if Christie Size calls during the playoffs, because it seems like to me, Christie Size, she wants credit for something that she don't deserve credit for. Because guess what? If Caitlin Clark wasn't the number one pick and you pick somebody else, oh, you would have, you're damn sure your record would be worse. You probably would have been the number one pick again. So you should thank Caitlin Clark for bailing you out of the slump that you was in. But we'll see. Until then, I'm out. Peace.